Hi, my name is Joshua Blunt, and this is Maybe Tomorrow. I always put my hand up to my face when I'm about to talk. It's like, and then I say so a lot, like so when I'm thinking. I don't like these two things. It's noon 30 on Wednesday, and this is the first time I'm talking to you because I edited in the morning. Most days, what I like to do is edit and publish my video before I go to sleep. If I'm tired or grumpy or just don't feel like it, I allow myself to edit in the morning. But there's a hard and fast rule about recording before I edit the previous day's video. I cannot shoot more footage until after the previous day's video is published. It helps me kind of maintain progress and keep moving forward. If I miss one day, this project could probably fall apart, to be honest. So it requires some rules. There is an exception. If I am filming a big project, I'm allowed to film new footage before the previous day's video is published, but they still have to be published in order. So sometimes when I'm filming a short film or when we're shooting a thing for Christchurch or someone else, I'll let myself kind of get behind on that because I have to edit the video that's for somebody else. I did a bunch of work this morning, just grabbed a shower. Now I'm off to the UPS store, my very favorite retail store. Very favorite. I can't go out the door, actually. The door's behind the camera. If I open the door, it'll knock down the camera. Yeah. I actually need a hoodie and shoes too, so that was kind of part of the gag, like I'm leaving and then you see me leaving. So. I have one thing I have to send for Melissa. I very nearly forgot it. It's a mystery.
Yes, you never know.
Because I'm gonna be going to Seattle pretty early tomorrow, I wanted to get this done a little earlier than normal. Yeah, so like the title says, I'm gonna talk about the 3 most impactful things that have happened in my life. These may not actually be the most impactful things. I think probably you'd need an outside observer to really know that, but these are the things when I think of course corrections and changes in my life. These are the things that I look back to. So in descending order of impact, number 1 is Connor, Melissa and I's son. He was born in 2010, 5 years after we got married. I think, so I would put him above Melissa in the hierarchy, primarily just because with Melissa and I, she is an equal person. Our relationship has changed a lot of things, but with Connor, he is solely dependent on us. So I feel like it's a different thing. Suddenly, everything becomes more real. You know, whether or not you've got the rent check, it becomes really serious when you're talking about a kid in the situation too. Planning for the future, things like even vacations. The kid's in school now and we're supposed to work around the school schedule to decide when we go on trips. And in lots of positive ways. I think Connor's taught me a lot about how I deal with anger and frustration. Parenting Connor in the way that we do has taught me a lot about motivations and how to, instead of kind of addressing an outcome, try to get back to the root of things and try to figure out what's actually going on so it can be solved in a more long-term way. Also, he's super funny and interesting. I just like Connor. I think, you know, when he was a baby, I always talk about I would be kind of swinging him to sleep or kind of talking him through things. And we'd be listening to like some loud metal or some pop punk or whatever, a lot of Alkaline Trio in those days. And I would talk to him and I would tell him that, like, I can't wait to hear you. I can't wait for you to be able to answer me. I can't wait to talk to you. And that remains true. He's not always ready for a conversation, but when he is, he has a lot of depth to him that I wouldn't have thought before having a kid. Now the next thing's Melissa. I feel like I talk about her all the time, but she is a remarkable woman, someone that is really driven and focused, someone that holds other people's weight on her shoulders and carries people in a lot of ways. She is someone that I think she's probably the first person in my life that really looked at me and looked at my faults and shortcomings, and instead of attacking that or working against that, she realized that some of that's just a part of who I am, and learned how to communicate and work with me in ways that were helpful. I don't know anybody that, of course, knows me as well as Melissa, but also anybody that treats me as well as Melissa. She is frequently deferring to me, but also like when she shouldn't be, she also is willing to stand up to me. Her connection with other people means that when I'm outside of our relationship, when I'm talking to somebody else or when I'm spending time with other people, I am frequently surprised at how they see the world, because Melissa and I are so in sync. And I talk about this a lot, but I think relationships have trajectories just like lives do. I think sometimes people get married and they were kind of on the same path and they saw a lot of connection, and then for whatever reason their lives end up going different ways. And that's what I've seen a lot with friends that get divorced. Like, there was just different paths, and for whatever reason one or both people didn't think that the paths would realign or whatever. And that's one thing I'm really grateful for, that as my thinking about the world has shifted, as I started reevaluating my faith and spirituality, as I started rethinking who I am as a person. Melissa's been there, I wouldn't even say at each step, because sometimes she's a couple steps ahead of me. And yeah, our relationship proves that I'm not alone. Like, literally, because she's with me, but also in the sense that like there are other people like me. She is one of these people. Yeah, so Melissa is definitely second most impactful, with a bullet. Like, she is very nearly as important in my life as Connor. I think probably slightly less so. Yeah, and third, without a doubt, is our move to Portland. In some ways we kind of made that decision rashly. I talk about sitting on my buddy Tyler's couch and just realizing we're moving here. It was after Easter at our church in Florida. Easter went great, but I just had a lot of, Easter's hard for worship leaders. So while Easter went great, I was really in my feelings and trying to deal with a lot of conflict that I had internally, having kind of supported a different mindset and worldview, hoping that I was for the greater good for me to be participating in that, and just kind of coming to the end of my rope and saying, hey, I can't toe the line here. I can't sign up for this. So that like inflection point, and realizing that, at that point I had turned 30. I was kind of really dealing with the idea of living in Florida, a place that I had never liked, but also just feeling a little stasis, that like I was living in a place that was 10 minutes from the place I lived in high school. I was going to the church Melissa, for the most part, grew up in, at least was a teenager in, and I needed some distance from that to further figure out who I am and where I'm going in my life. And Portland is definitely that place for me. I've never once thought we shouldn't have moved. It's never come into my mind. We actually kind of told people we were moving about a year before we actually did. So even in that, year, I never had a thought where it was like, oh, maybe this is too much, or this is scary, or I don't think this is going to work out. Yeah, Portland's been kind of this character in my life for a long time, since 2002, maybe. And yeah, the reality of where I live and how I live is such a massive gift to me. I am overwhelmed with joy when I think about it. Portland is definitely the number 3 most impactful thing on my life, for sure. Okay, so I told my top 3, and in some detail. I hope I cut it down some, because I think I've been talking for 20 minutes. But I want to hear your top 3. Do you have a number, even if it's 5 or 10 or 1, of things that, when you think about your life, seem to be the most impactful? They could be positive or negative. Mine are mostly positive, but you know, there are certainly negative things that have serious impact on your life. So I'd actually like to hear those. You should leave a comment on this YouTube video, and yeah, let's talk about it there. I'll talk at you in the comments if you want. I don't know. It's so weird asking you to do things on a web page when I'm, you know, standing in our dining room looking at a camera on a monopod that I love. Like, it's weird to talk to you. I know that you're watching, all 20 of you. Anyway, so leave a comment with some things that were super impactful in your life. If you enjoyed this video, please click the like button. And also, if you'd like to see more like this, more of my face talking to a camera in my dining room, then go ahead and subscribe to this channel. You'll get a lot of it. YouTube will make sure you see most of my videos. So yeah, thanks for watching.